Have you ever found yourself suddenly wide awake at 3 in the morning, staring into the darkness and wondering why sleep has slipped away once again? Perhaps you've shifted restlessly under the covers, hoping to drift back into slumber, only to feel more alert with each passing minute. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many older adults experience these seemingly inexplicable 3 a.m. awakenings. Far from being a trivial issue, these wake-up calls can carry important messages about your body, your mind, and your life as it unfolds in later years. In the rush of everyday life, it's easy to label these early morning awakenings as mere nuisances. But what if these moments of wakefulness are actually a window into deeper changes, biological, emotional, and social, that are a natural part of aging? By taking a closer look, you may discover that there's more going on than meets the eye. You might recognize patterns in your sleep environment, your daily routines, and even in your unspoken thoughts. When put together, these clues can form a revealing picture of what your body and mind truly need. In this script, we'll explore 7 profound reasons older adults often find themselves awake at 3 a.m. We'll go beyond superficial explanations, diving into how hormone levels shift with age, how the internal clock changes, and how underlying health conditions can disrupt your sleep. We'll also consider how lifestyle habits, emotional well-being, and the physical environment can all play a part in shaping whether you sleep soundly or find yourself awake in the hush of the pre-dawn hours. Our goal isn't merely to point out problems. Instead, we want to foster a deeper understanding that can lead to real solutions, be they practical steps, emotional insights, or a gentler acceptance of where you are in life. By the time you finish reading, you may find yourself viewing these 3 a.m. wake-ups not as adversaries, but as opportunities. They can become chances to learn about yourself, make nurturing choices, and develop a healthier relationship with rest. So if you've ever asked yourself why you keep waking up in the middle of the night, stay with us. You might uncover an explanation that resonates powerfully with your own experience. And that understanding can be the key to better sleep, greater well-being, and a fresh appreciation for the subtle cues your body offers every single day. Let's begin. 1. The natural decline of nighttime hormones. One of the most significant and commonly overlooked reasons for middle-of-the-night awakenings lies in the subtle hormonal shifts that come with age. Melatonin, often dubbed the sleep hormone, plays a central role. It's produced by the pineal gland, which helps regulate your circadian rhythm, sometimes called your internal clock. During youth and early adulthood, your body often churns out robust levels of melatonin, peaking in the evening and gradually declining as morning approaches. This steady wave of melatonin production supports a long, continuous stretch of sleep. As you move into your later decades, however, melatonin levels tend to taper off. This means that by the time the wee hours of the morning roll around, your body might not have enough melatonin circulating to maintain deeper stages of sleep. You might spontaneously drift from a peaceful slumber into a lighter state of rest, eventually becoming fully awake. This is not an indication that your body is malfunctioning. Rather, it's a natural adjustment in hormone balance that accompanies the aging process. Beyond melatonin, other hormones can also influence late-night wake-ups. Cortisol, commonly known as the stress hormone, tends to rise in the early morning hours to prepare your body for the upcoming day. In older adults, this surge can sometimes happen earlier or more dramatically, making you feel alert or even anxious well before sunrise. Estrogen and testosterone changes may also contribute to fragmented sleep, especially if you are dealing with menopausal shifts or age-related hormonal decline. It's easy to become frustrated when these changes first become noticeable. After all, you might have spent decades enjoying a solid 8 hours without disruption. But recognizing that your body's chemistry is evolving can help you respond with understanding rather than blame. Instead of fretting over each moment of wakefulness, you can focus on proactive approaches. Creating a bedtime routine that reinforces melatonin production, like dimming the lights in the evening, avoiding bright screens, and perhaps even considering low-dose melatonin supplements under medical supervision, can help you work with your body's new hormonal rhythm. Take the example of Margaret, who spent most of her life falling asleep by 10 p.m. and waking up at 6 a.m. without fail. As she entered her late 60s, she found herself wide awake around 2 or 3 in the morning, puzzled as to why her once dependable sleep pattern felt so disrupted. After learning about the decline in melatonin levels, Margaret made some small but impactful changes. She turned off her TV an hour before bed, replaced her bright bedroom lamp with a soft, warm-hued bulb, and took a gentle supplement after consulting with her healthcare provider. Within a few weeks, she noticed fewer nighttime disruptions and a smoother transition back to sleep when she did stir. That's the real takeaway. Understanding the hormonal dimension of sleep changes can empower you to adapt your lifestyle. It transforms that middle-of-the-night wake-up from a random annoyance into a meaningful cue about what your body truly needs. 2. The advancement of your internal clock. Ever notice how some older adults seem ready for bed before the evening news wraps up? This isn't just about personal preference. There's a scientific basis behind it. It's called advanced sleep phase syndrome, or simply the shifting of the circadian rhythm toward earlier bedtimes and earlier wake-up times. While you might have been a night owl in your younger years, your internal clock can shift forward by an hour or two as you age, leading you to fall asleep sooner. The consequence? You may wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning simply because you've already completed a substantial chunk of your sleep cycle. In younger adults, an 11 p.m. bedtime might naturally lead to waking at 7 a.m. But if you're now dozing off at 9 or 9:30, you've already racked up several hours of rest by 3 a.m. That's a large slice of the typical 7 or 8 hours people aim for. So it's no wonder your eyes might fly open while the rest of your household remains soundly asleep. Another subtle factor that can feed into this advanced sleep phase is the lack of external time cues. During our younger years, obligations like work, social events, and family responsibilities often anchor us to a schedule. Late-night dinners, early morning commutes, and evening social activities can all delay bedtime. Once retired or less socially active, these cues begin to dissolve, and your internal clock gets free rein to shift to its natural preference, which may be considerably earlier. In the quiet hush of retirement, it's not unusual to have dinner as early as 5 or 6, then engage in a little television or reading before heading to bed by 8 or 9. Over time, you might find your body fully accepting this routine, only to have you bright-eyed in the middle of the night. It's not that you've developed insomnia, you've simply realigned your sleep schedule. If you find this pattern inconvenient, perhaps because you still want to stay up late for socializing, or you'd prefer not to be wide awake hours before dawn, there are ways to gently shift your internal clock. Light exposure is a crucial component. Spending time outdoors in the late afternoon or evening sunlight can encourage your body to stay awake longer. You might also try timed exposure to bright indoor lighting, delaying dinner slightly, or involving yourself in mild evening activities. Small steps like these can gradually help you reset your internal clock closer to a bedtime that fits your lifestyle. Take note, however, that some people are perfectly content with their advanced schedule. They enjoy quiet mornings, maybe using that early wakefulness for meditation, reading, or other solo activities. If it doesn't interfere with your daily life or a sense of well-being, there's no need to force yourself into a different sleep pattern. Sometimes acceptance is the best remedy. 3. Physical aches, pains, and underlying health conditions. Another crucial piece of the puzzle is the role of physical discomfort in waking you up. As the body ages, issues like joint pain, arthritis, restless leg syndrome, and other aches become more common. Even mild discomfort can become glaringly noticeable when you're lying in bed during the stillness of the early morning. While these discomforts might not fully awaken a younger body, an older adult's lighter stage of sleep can quickly be disrupted by sensations that range from mildly uncomfortable to truly painful. For instance, you may have mild osteoarthritis in your hips or knees. During the day, you're moving around, keeping joints lubricated and not focusing on those low-level aches. But at night, your joints remain in one position for hours, potentially aggravating the pain. This discomfort can jolt you awake around 3 a.m., at a time when your brain is more sensitive to minor stimuli. Similarly, conditions like acid reflux or gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, can be triggered by lying down soon after dinner or by certain dietary choices. The reflux can grow more pronounced a few hours into your sleep, prompting you to wake up feeling an uncomfortable burning sensation. And let's not forget the frequent urge to use the bathroom, especially for men dealing with prostate issues or women navigating pelvic floor changes. Waking up to use the restroom is extremely common, and even if you can quickly return to bed, the interruption can be enough to shift you from deep sleep to a more alert state. It's also worth considering the role of medications. Many older adults take prescriptions for blood pressure, diabetes, or chronic pain. Some of these medications have side effects that disturb sleep, raising heart rate, causing night sweats, or prompting more bathroom visits. If you suspect your medication is interfering with your rest, it's wise to discuss this possibility with your healthcare provider. They might adjust your dosage or recommend taking certain meds earlier in the day to minimize sleep disruptions. Take Greg, for example, who is 70 and generally in good health aside from moderate arthritis in his lower back. He noticed he was consistently waking around 3:30 or 4 a.m. and had trouble settling back down. After some observation, he realized that lying on his side without changing position amplified pressure on his spine over several hours. Greg switched to a supportive mattress topper, began performing gentle stretches before bed and upon waking, and talked to his doctor about adjusting his anti-inflammatory medication schedule. These simple changes cut down on the back pain that had been quietly nudging him awake. Understanding the physical dimensions of your 3 a.m. awakenings is crucial. Pain and discomfort aren't just random irritations. They're signals your body sends to alert you to areas needing extra care. By responding to these signals through exercise, new bedding, a supportive evening routine, or medical guidance, you can lessen the disruptions and enjoy a more continuous, restful night's sleep. 4. The sleep environment and sensory sensitivities. Never underestimate how changes in your sensory sensitivity can affect your sleep. As people age, they can become more reactive to minor lights, sounds, and temperature fluctuations. Factors that might have gone unnoticed in younger years. A street light filtering through thin curtains, a blinking digital clock, or even the low hum of an air conditioner can become a significant annoyance at 3 a.m., especially if you're already teetering on the edge between deep sleep and wakefulness. Temperature is often overlooked, but is a key factor. Older adults sometimes have more difficulty regulating their body temperature. If the room is even slightly warmer or cooler than is comfortable, you might find yourself stirring. Adding to the complexity, nighttime hormone changes can make you more prone to hot flashes or night sweats, disrupting that perfect thermal balance needed for uninterrupted rest. Pets can also play a role. If you sleep with a dog or cat, their movements, nocturnal habits, or even gentle snoring can pull you out of deep sleep. For some, these small disturbances have a cumulative effect, resulting in an abrupt awakening in the early morning hours. You might find yourself lying awake, irritated, and unable to pinpoint the cause, only to realize your pet just changed sleeping positions or hopped off the bed. Room darkness is another crucial consideration. Your body's natural production of melatonin is heavily influenced by exposure to light, any light, not just sunlight. Even the faint glow of a television screen in another room or the hallway light seeping under the door can reduce melatonin levels. This minimal light exposure may not fully wake a younger individual, but can be enough to prompt an older adult to rouse in the middle of the night. If you've ever turned over and discovered a thin sliver of light cutting across your pillow from a slightly ajar door, you know how surprisingly distracting it can be. Take Eileen, who at 75 was waking up at various times throughout the night, often around 3 a.m. She realized that the culprit might be her environment when she noticed the glow of her nightlight was casting a faint pattern on the ceiling. That subtle brightness was enough to catch her attention when she shifted in bed. After replacing her nightlight with one that had a motion sensor, which only lit up when she needed to get up, she noticed a marked improvement. Combine that with blackout curtains to block street light and the use of a sound machine to mask minor noises, and Eileen's early awakenings decreased significantly. The bottom line is that small tweaks can go a long way. Adjusting the thermostat, investing in a more supportive mattress, or adding light-blocking curtains might seem trivial, but for an older adult with a heightened sensory radar, these steps can dramatically improve the continuity of sleep. By acknowledging that you've become more sensitive and planning your environment accordingly, you set yourself up for deeper rest with fewer 3 a.m. surprises. 5. Emotional shifts and late-night introspection. Sometimes those pre-dawn hours have little to do with body aches or circadian rhythms and more to do with what's happening in your heart and mind. With the hustle and bustle of younger life, career, child rearing, social engagements, there's often little time for true introspection. As you step into your later years, the pace might slow, leaving ample space for thoughts and emotions to surface, especially when everything is quiet at night. It's not uncommon for older adults to experience a wave of nostalgia or even regret around 3 a.m. Memories rise to the surface as you lie there, unoccupied by daytime tasks. You might replay old conversations, ponder what-ifs, or dwell on unresolved conflicts. Even positive recollections, like remembering a wonderful trip you took decades ago, can stir the mind, making it challenging to drift back to sleep. Loneliness, too, can creep in during these silent hours, especially if you live alone or have recently lost a spouse or a close friend. When the world around you is still, the weight of that absence can be felt more intensely. This can lead to a gnawing feeling in the pit of your stomach, even if you didn't recognize it as loneliness at first glance. Anxiety about health, finances, or the well-being of loved ones might also bubble up. Those questions about how many years you have left, or if you've done everything you wanted in life, can become quite vivid in the absence of daytime distractions. It's important to realize that these emotional or existential awakenings aren't a flaw. They're a natural part of reflecting on a life filled with experiences, relationships, and changes. The key is to handle these moments of wakefulness with compassion for yourself. If you find your mind racing at 3 a.m., consider having a small notebook by your bedside to jot down whatever thoughts surface. Sometimes simply putting your feelings into words can calm the mental chatter, signaling to your brain that you've acknowledged these issues and can revisit them later in the day. Meditation or gentle breathing exercises can also be incredibly helpful. Even a simple practice of focusing on your breath, counting each inhale and exhale, can divert you from the spiral of restless thoughts. Guided imagery, where you imagine a soothing scene or recall a favorite place, can also nudge your mind toward relaxation. Some older adults find relief in short prayers or affirmations that bring comfort, reminding them they are safe and valued, even in moments of vulnerability. Remember, you've accumulated decades of life experience. You've faced challenges and reaped achievements. Sometimes the 3 a.m. hour is the mind's chosen time to sift through the lessons and questions that remain. Rather than fighting these moments, meeting them with patience and openness can transform a frustrating wake-up call into a quiet, meaningful check-in with yourself. 6. Shifting lifestyle patterns and daytime activity. Age often brings changes to daily routines. Retirement, for instance, eliminates the morning alarm that once dictated your wake-up time for work. Adult children have moved out, relieving you of the responsibilities that once occupied your evenings. This additional leisure time can be both a blessing and a hidden factor in altered sleep patterns. When you don't have a pressing reason to stay awake later or wake up early, you might find yourself inadvertently napping in the afternoon or drifting off while reading after dinner. Over time, these small daytime doses accumulate, reducing the body's need for extended sleep at night. So if you're nodding off during that late afternoon TV show or taking a leisurely 2-hour nap, it's natural that you might find yourself fully alert in the very early morning. Similarly, your diet and exercise habits can shift. If you're consuming fewer calories, especially carbohydrates, later in the evening, your body might be more prone to a dip in blood sugar during the night. That dip can trigger wakefulness as your system signals it's time for nourishment. On the flip side, those who consume heavier meals too close to bedtime might deal with indigestion or acid reflux that disrupts sleep. Exercise, or the lack thereof, can also influence nighttime awakenings. While vigorous workouts right before bed can overstimulate and delay sleep, moderate physical activity earlier in the day tends to promote better rest. The body thrives on regular movement, which helps maintain muscle tone, circulatory health, and stress relief. A gentle walk in the morning and some light stretching in the afternoon can improve overall sleep quality, making it easier to remain asleep during the wee hours. A real-world illustration is gym. a 69-year-old retiree who spent years rising at 5:30 a.m. for his construction job. After retiring, he enjoyed the freedom to sleep as late as he wanted. However, he noticed he kept waking around 3 a.m. and couldn't figure out why. On closer look, Jim realized that without the demand of an early start, he was taking a long nap every afternoon. This habit, combined with a rather sedentary lifestyle where he spent hours on the couch watching TV, left him less tired at bedtime. By swapping out some of his TV time for a mild indoor cycling routine and restricting his nap to a short 20-minute doze after lunch, Jim found his nights far more restful. The lesson here: balance is key. A life stage offering more freedom and less work-related stress is wonderful, but that new rhythm can inadvertently affect your sleep in unexpected ways. By fine-tuning daytime activities, like limiting naps, incorporating mild exercise, and watching your evening meal schedule, you can create conditions that better align with a full night's rest. 7. The interplay of social connections and mental wellness. Last but certainly not least, your social environment and mental well-being can subtly influence your 3 a.m. wake-ups. Humans are intrinsically social creatures, and as we age, social circles can shrink due to retirement, family relocations, or the passing of friends and relatives. This reduced social engagement can lead to feelings of isolation, boredom, or anxiety, and all of which can bleed into your sleep. In younger years, a busy day filled with meetings, errands, or social visits can be draining enough that you fall into bed exhausted. But when social interactions wane, the mind doesn't receive the same level of external stimuli, and you could find yourself less mentally fatigued by bedtime. This can cause you to slip into lighter sleep or become more prone to introspective worry when you do awaken. If you're grappling with mild depression or anxiety, conditions that often go underdiagnosed in older adults, these can exacerbate middle-of-the-night wakefulness. Encouragingly, social connection can have a profound impact on sleep quality. Spending time with friends, volunteering, taking classes, or even joining a local walking club can help stimulate the mind, elevate mood, and provide a healthy sense of routine. These activities are more than just ways to pass the time. They play a significant role in anchoring your mental and emotional health, which in turn supports more stable sleep patterns. For example, consider Carla, a 7-year-old widow who moved closer to her daughter's family a few years ago. Although she was grateful to be near loved ones, Carla found herself feeling isolated because she didn't have her own circle of friends in the new neighborhood. She noticed she'd wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, unable to go back to sleep as her mind churned over worries and sadness. Following her daughter's suggestion, Carla joined a senior knitting group at the local community center. The weekly gatherings helped her meet people with similar interests and gave her something to look forward to. The mental engagement of crafting and the comfort of new friendships gradually contributed to fewer nighttime awakenings. When she did wake, she often recalled pleasant interactions from the day rather than ruminating on her loneliness. Investing in social ties is not a superficial solution. Genuine connection nourishes emotional well-being, which is intimately linked to how deeply and peacefully you sleep. Knowing you have a supportive circle, be it friends, family, or a community group, can reduce the nighttime mental chatter that so often disrupts rest. Embracing a holistic understanding of 3 a.m. wake-ups. When you view these 3 a.m. awakenings through a holistic lens, you begin to see the intricate interplay of physical, emotional, and environmental factors. Hormonal changes, shifts in your circadian rhythm, aches and pains, the nuances of your bedroom environment, emotional undercurrents, lifestyle patterns, and your social world all converge to influence whether you remain peacefully asleep or awaken in the still of the night. The good news is that each of these factors offers an opportunity for improvement. By fine-tuning daily habits, seeking the right medical advice, creating a soothing sleep environment, nurturing emotional health, and building meaningful social connections, you can often reduce or better manage middle-of-the-night wakefulness. The goal is not necessarily to eliminate every single 3 a.m. interruption. Some awakenings are a natural part of the aging process, but rather to approach them with knowledge, acceptance, and practical strategies. In doing so, you can shift your outlook on these moments of wakefulness from frustration to curiosity. Instead of feeling defeated or worried, you can ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me right now? Do I need to adjust my evening routine, address a pain, or explore my emotions? Sometimes the simple act of questioning can bring clarity, helping you break free from a cycle of anxious rumination. There's a certain grace in learning to adapt to the changes that come with getting older. Just as your tastes in food or music might have evolved over the decades, so too has your body's relationship with rest. Embracing that evolution, rather than battling against it, can be incredibly liberating. It opens the door to a more compassionate relationship with yourself, one that acknowledges your experiences and wisdom while still striving for comfort and well-being. Think back to some of the examples we've touched on. Margaret reducing light exposure to boost melatonin levels, Jim managing daytime naps to preserve nighttime sleep, Carla finding solace in new social connections, or Greg addressing back pain so it no longer pulls him from slumber. Each individual discovered that a few thoughtful adjustments, combined with a willingness to experiment, could profoundly change how they experience those quiet hours before dawn. If you find yourself frequently staring at the ceiling in the wee hours, consider using this script as a springboard for reflection. Which of these 7 reasons resonates most with you? Perhaps you recognize the signs of advanced sleep phase, or you suspect pain and discomfort are at the root of your wakefulness. Maybe you feel an emotional heaviness that surfaces when everything else is quiet. Or it could be that your environment isn't as sleep-friendly as it once was, and a few small tweaks might make all the difference. Whatever the case, awareness is the first step toward better sleep. From there, it's about thoughtful action, whether it's consulting a healthcare professional about potential medication side effects, experimenting with blackout curtains, exploring gentle exercise routines, or finding a social group that invigorates your mind and heart. Even journaling or practicing mindfulness can provide relief, helping you turn a 3 a.m. wake-up into a moment of self-care rather than a source of dread. Healing is a complex journey filled with both challenges and opportunities. Sleep disturbances can serve as wake-up calls, literally, that guide you toward a more balanced lifestyle, deeper emotional well-being, and a living environment that truly supports your changing needs. So the next time you open your eyes in the stillness of night, remember that you have options, and that this moment can be an invitation to learn, adapt, and find renewed peace and rest. Thank you for reading. We hope these insights help you navigate the unique sleep challenges that can arise in later life. By embracing a holistic approach and remaining open to small, meaningful changes, you can turn those 3 a.m. awakenings from a frustrating mystery into an opportunity for growth, understanding, and improved well-being. Sleep well, take gentle care of yourself, and remember, every stage of life holds its own rhythms and lessons. May your nights be restful, your mornings refreshing, and your days filled with the calm assurance that you're listening closely to what your body and your heart truly need.